So everyone probably see my PowerPoint slide. Okay. Uh, Again, introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Reza, and my colleagues, her name is Stephanie Aisham, and both we are reference and instruction librarian, and we are also working as a OER liaison for the library. So anytime if you need any help, please email us or call us to our phone. My phone number is the extension 2378, and Stephanie her is 2372. So uh, I know many of them, you know what is the open educational resource. I'm just going to little bit overview that thing because I just want to make sure everyone in our workshop, they have some idea about the open educational resources. So the main rules is open educational resource are teaching, learning, and the research resources that reside in the public domain. So the main things, OER materials should be in the public domain, and anyone can access, anyone can remix, anyone can revise this material, and they can use the free, all this material. So OER include full courses, course material, modules, textbook, streaming videos, software, or any other type of materials that can support to knowledge. So in one sentence, open educational resource is accessible any people, any person. If they have internet access, they can openly access these open educational resources things. Uh, there is 5 Rs which is actually related to the OER, which is called, the remix, revise, retain, redistribute, and reuse. I'm just little bit talk about open educational resources background because last time I attended a seminar 2018 in San Antonio, and one person he did very good job about the open educational resource, and he explained some of the thing. Nearly 5 major publishers hold nearly 90% of the market. For imagine, business education student, if they want to, buy a basic business book, it's probably couple of $100. So many people are there struggling to their textbook. So federal government, they took initiative for the open educational resource, and it's getting popularity day by day. So that 5 Rs, which is the OER 5 Rs: retain, make and own a copy; reuse, use in a wide range of ways; revise, adapt, modify, and improve; remix, combine 2 or more; redistribute, share with others. I can explain all the thing later on, but this is the main principle of the OER, what you can do with the OER materials. Um, and before I'm talking about the Creative Commons licensing and OER, little bit about why OER is important. Just focus something, some of the survey share with you. This is the PIRG survey last time 2018 that they did this survey, and they found 65% students said they had made a decision against buying textbook because the textbook is so expensive. And some other people, they said, the majority percentage student, they said, if they can access free textbook from online, it very helpful for them. And 94% student who had foregone purchasing a textbook that would hurt their course grade. So you can see this is the majority of the student, their experience about the textbook. I just give some of the example. Some of the institute, they introduce the textbook free degree, and student, they actually like it. and they have a better experience, and they said they can save that much money for the year, so they can spend this money for their household things. So there is story. So it's open educational resource actually very good for the student anyway. Uh, the benefit adopting OER, student will enjoy lower academic cost and similar learning outcomes. Academic institution will able to decrease student dropout or withdrawn rate. Statistics show student will improve their grade. This is some of the survey result from opencontent.org. Uh, Another few benefits adopting OER, easy to adapt the for class. For example, if you get some of the courseware, I can show you the later, the practical courseware and the free textbook. But the benefit adopting OER, easy to adapt for class, immediately available to access, accessible design for the student, easily update option. So that's it, the little bit about the open educational resource. What is the open educational resource? Why it is important? The next thing is very important, and most of the time people are feeling, the complexity is the Creative Commons, because the licensing issue, even though it's open educational resource, sometimes people they don't understand what they can do with the open educational materials, what their restriction. So the Creative Commons, it's a non-profit organization, and it's established in 2001, and they can actually help to uh, open educational resource copyright things. So Creative Commons license allow the creator of the works to select how they want others to use the work. And you can see some of the symbol, Creative Commons symbol, CC, BY, BY, SA, BY, NC. Every time if you get any OER materials, you can, at the end of the materials, you can get some of the symbol. And actually, I'm going to explain that thing very short way. There is 6 major category. Creative Commons license applies for the OER open educational materials. So, for example, if anytime if you see that symbol CCBY, what's the attribution means? This license lets other distribute, remix, adapt, and build upon your work even commercially, as long as they credit you for the original creation. This is the most accommodating of license offered, recommended for maximum dissemination and use of license material. So anytime if you see CCBY, this attribution at the end of open education resource material, you can free to use, remix, adapt, rebuild, and redistributes all this material. This is the very common, the CCBI attribution for open educational resource material. The second thing, if you see CCBI SA stand for share alike. This license lets other remix, adapt, and build upon your work even for commercial purpose. So even if you use these materials for commercial purpose, it allows, as long as they credit you and license their new creation under the identical terms. So there is some other few license, which is ND, no derivatives. Uh, then another one, CCBYNC, which is non-commercial. This license lets other remix, adapt, and build upon your work non-commercially. You can use this material. If anytime if you get this attribution CCBYNC, you are not use this material non-commercially. Uh, you can use your you can use your materials, OER materials, not for commercially. And another two thing, CC, BY, and CSA, the license lets other remix, adapt, and build upon your work non-commercially as long as they credit you and license their new creation under the identical terms. So this is the major, six major licensings that implies Creative Commons for OER copyright issue. For example, I'm going to show you a example. Okay. Example, or this is a courseware from the Lumen Learning. Lumen Learning, they are open educational resources, and they have a repository, they have a courseware, textbook, many things they created, and anyone can use this material under the Creative Commons license. And for example, this is the information literacy courseware. And at the end, you can see the copyright section, you can see the CC/BY. So my question is, if you see the CC/BY attribution, what you can do with this material? Anyone can answer?
Now, isn't that say that you can use it, and change it, you just have to attribute? You just have to say where you got it, right?
The CC BY is the most common attribution. Yeah. This license lets other distribute, remix, adapt, build upon your work, even commercially. So this is the most free materials. You can do anything, remix, adapt, redistribute, even the commercially.
But if I used that, I could download it, I could modify it for my class, I could adapt it, I could probably maybe even publish it.
Yes.
Or use it for a paid class, but I have to give them credit.
Yes, right? The creator, original creator, you have to give their credit. As long as you cite it, no issue. You can do anything.
Learning, what is the content coverage of Lumen Learning? Sciences or sciences?
I can show you that on later on. Okay. All the the practical repositories.
That's a question coming
Yes, yes, okay. So the license, some of the few highlights as a user, what you can do, what you are not able to do with this license. So the user rights, every CC license allow you to copy the work. For example, you can download, you can upload, you can photocopy and scan the work. Second, copy the work. Copy the work, you can download, upload, photocopy and scan the work. Distribute the work. I can give you one example. Copies of the work to teacher, student, parents and community. So no issue. Display or perform the work. Example, play a sound recording or film in class or a stage, a play to parents. Communicate the work. Example, make the work available online on the school internet, learning management system, or on a class blog. So this is allowed. Then format shift, a copy of MP3 version of music onto a CD or MP4 version. So you can also, transfer the material into different, the format. Now the next thing, user obligations. What you can do with the OER. This is very important. One thing, always attribute the creator of the work. Always give the original creator their credential. This is the very serious obligation, users. Anytime if you use any of the OER materials, you have to give original author their credential. It doesn't mean CC BY, NC, ND, you have to give them a credit. Get permission from the creator to do anything that goes beyond the terms of the license. Uh, for example, making a commercial use of the work or creating a derivative work where the license does not permit this. So, anytime if you want to use as a commercial, get permission from the creator, even though some other CC, BY, NC, non-commercial use, or some other Creative Commons copyright implies. In this case, if you want to use as a commercial, then you have to take right from the owner, original author. Keep any copyright notice attached to the work intact on all copies of their work. Indicate the link to the license from any copies of the work. Where you make change to the work, acknowledge the original work and indicate the change have been made. For example, if you get any OER materials and you get CCBY, you are able to remix, readapt, redistribute. Even though you are allowed to remix, this is a courtesy. You have to acknowledge the original work. I did that change, just an acknowledgement. So where you make the changes to the work, acknowledge the original work. In addition, when you use any CCA material, you must not alter the terms of the license. For example, if you get OER materials, you use these materials and at the end of the copyright thing, you can just change CC, BY, NC or something. That's not acceptable. You are not able to alter the terms of the license unless the original author they can do if they want. Use the work in any way that is reputation of the creator of the work. So in this case, uh, making a commercial use of the work or creating a derivative works where the license does not permit this. Number 3, imply the creator is endorsing or sponsoring you or your work. Add any technologies to the work that restrict other people from using it under the terms of the license. So this is the some obligation you can't do with the OER. And if you want to more about it, please click that link wiki.creativecommons.org and you can get more information, user obligation and user rights. So this is a Creative Commons. They are actually website. Anytime if you have any confusion about the licensing, this is a nice and very accessible website. So simply access this Creative Commons, their website, and you can get more of their license. View licensed it. If you click the view licensed it, you will get more information regarding the licenses. I already shown one example. This is the another example for this is the OER service contemporary health issue, health science introduction to personal health. This is a courseware, and at the end of this content, you can get the CCBY attribution. So you can understand, you can remix, redistribute, adapt, or even though you can commercially use these OER materials. So, anyone has any question about the Creative Commons licensing or the OER? Okay, then probably I can go a little bit far. Even though OER is very easy to adapt, but the implementation phase, sometimes faculty they get some barrier to OER adaptation. I actually got very good article which is published 2016, Incentives and Barrier to OER Adaptation, a qualitative analysis of the faculty perceptions. Uh, Stephanie already attached this link to the chat box. So if anyone interested, you can read this article, and I believe this is very helpful to understand this barrier and the challenges and the incentive process. The few of the barrier, sometimes if you're looking for the information for your textbook or the courseware or the article or the journal, most of the time you need more information. This is a barrier. What you get is not enough for your course. You need.
So the OER source doesn't contain all the information that I need.
Not really, not really. Still, there is a many limitations to adapt OER, especially for the graduate student, because the OER activity started few years back, probably 10, 12, 15 years back, and still it's the developing phase. You can get easily access many of the undergraduate level basic courses, but higher education, especially for the graduate education, is still very limited option for the OER resources. I can tell you that thing again, the incentives thing, so you can understand.
Well, I'm trying to think of a workaround for faculty who want to use it now. Maybe depending on their course, you could use more than one OER.
Oh
Or
yes.
pull OER information from different areas. I was thinking of, upper level courses. And sometimes when I've seen syllabuses, faculty may assign individual readings from different books and articles. You have your textbook, and then you have your supplemental reading. You may be able to pull OERs for those supplemental readings.
Yes.
And that could be a way to incorporate OERs into your course if you can't find one magic textbook or one book that has everything. You could probably piece things together. In my researching for OER materials, there have been some university press textbooks on more advanced themes that have essays in there that could be supplementing for an upper level course or for a graduate course. The problem will be matching the subjects.
Thank you, Stephanie. And another thing of lack of discoverability, because many of the faculty members they want to adapt the OER course, but they don't know where is the available, because nowadays many OER repository exist. So this is the another barrier. You have to look where you actually get your stuff. The third thing is confusing OER with digital resources. This is very important because OER restricted or allow you know under the Creative Commons license. So Creative Commons license, they have their some characteristics, and you can understand this is the OER material. But for example, if you get a textbook from internet and it's accessible, anyone can access, but this book has copyright issue. Do you Can you use that as a OER materials? Because anyway, even though it's accessible from the internet, anyone can access, there is a chance any third copy or any individual people they can upload this textbook to the internet, and anyone can apply this textbook, but still there is a copyright issue. So as an institution, we can't use this type of textbook or material as a OER. So
Just because it's online doesn't mean it's an OER automatically.
yes.
I think that would be the lesson.
Lesson, yes.
And I think one of the unique things with OERs, journal articles are up there, ebooks are up there, you can access them, but OERs have the ability to modify, to republish. There's more manipulating you can do of the text versus a regular traditional book or a traditional journal article.
Yes, that's true. And another few things, sometimes you get the materials from the website, internet, and it's even though it's a this is for the mathematic course, undergraduate course, but you find it's not up to date that quality, or it's not applicable for the faculty. This is the another barrier, and lack of time to evaluate resources. Sometimes you don't have time to evaluate it. So, you know, before you use, you just get some barrier, your time, So in this case, as a especially as a we librarian, we can help as a the evaluate the resource. So anytime if you need help, please contact with us, me or Stephanie. We are happy to work, especially for the evaluate the resources. And lack of OER quality. This is the very basic things. Sometimes you get the OER materials and it's not meets the quality as university standard or institutional standards. So anyone, if you interest this article, Stephanie, she already um, provide the link in the chat option, so you can read this article. This is a nice article about incentive and barriers to the OER adaptation. And for the barrier, you know, especially for the graduate graduate level OER and some of the undergraduate level courseware, or the course material still not available in the OER repository. In this case, all the state government, even the federal government, they have a open educational resource course development grant.
One of our
Mm-hmm.
oh, good job. One of our um, eagle-eyed, thank you, eagle-eyed audience members mentioned that some of these, the closing dates for some of these grants have passed.
Yes,
That
this
some
this
of them-
this actually this year already passed in January 14, I think. So I'm actually showing you interest. If
Yeah.
you interest for the next year,
And it's also only core courses.
only for the
So,
core
yeah.
courses, so they can I want to show this one because the state government, they have some incentives to create the OER courses. uh, so this is actually little bit about the Creative Commons license, user obligations, user rights, and what we can do in our academic library as a librarian role. We can spread the OER information for our academic community.
This is how we help you.
Help you, yes, we can help library as a library, and we can evaluate your information, try to find your information to using different type of OER repositories. So now I'm going to show some of the big repository that you can use for your OER course or the textbook. So I'm going to share my window, and everyone can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, this is Open Textbook Library. So uh, under the Creative Commons license, you can use any of the book from Open Textbook Library. For example, I'm just showing a simple example. It's a broad example, but anyway, education. I'm looking some book about the education. You can see this is all the education OER textbook, and you can use any of the book. For example, if you teaching the health education and you thought, okay, this book is good for my coursework. So, and you want to see their Creative Commons licensing, you can see this is the CC BY attribution. So what you can do, for example, you are a health education faculty and you want to adapt this book. So what you can understand the CC BY, you can remix, redistribute, and even though commercial use, as long you cited the original author. And you can right hand side, you can see the table of content. So you can get some idea, very quick idea what this is book for, and you also see their reviews. And this book is totally under the Creative Commons license and you can use it. So this is the open textbook library. I want to show another one which is called OpenStack, and all these links I provide to my open educational libguides, which I'm going to show you that at the uh, my session. So you can get all this link to these libguides. So OpenStacks, they are actually created by the Rice University, and this is very good for the initial, the basic course book, textbook. For example, astronomy. You can see peer-reviewed, openly licensed, 100% free. You teaching algebra, so simply click the algebra. You can download. There is the option view online, download, order, print, and you can use this year as a coursework. And you can see always I told you the one thing. This is the most important thing, the licensing. CC BY, anything you want, 5 hours, the OER 5 hours, anything you can do with this, with this, the book. Okay, there is another one, OER Commons. They have a many option. You can select the subject, for example, life science or history, and just check it history. You can create the education educational level, middle school, high school, community college, upper division. For example, I just interested, the graduate professional, and try to find any information about the history. Let's see. Yeah, there is a few is displaying resources, which is absolutely under the Creative Commons license CC BY NC SA. That's mean you can't use these materials as a non-commercial. Not you can't use this as a commercial because NC apply CC BY NC. It's non-commercial, not for, you can remix or redistribute, but not you can use this material as a commercial things. MIT courseware, this is the absolutely another very big OER repositories, and you actually find courseware from this side. For example, I'm just writing nursing, or I use another term, athletic training, and try to find information. You can say you can get some of the courseware, weight training, athletics, and you can get their syllabus, their reading, lecture, and you can use it as long they have, there is a no copyright issue. Probably I have to examine this one before I use, because I'm not seeing any copyright things here, but I'm definitely sure you can use it. But there is probably under any of the section they definitely mention that one. And another one which is called the Mason OER Meta Finder. And Stephanie, can you please talk about little bit about the Mason OER Meta Finder?
Okay. So Mohammed and I have been, helping people try to find OERs. And if you have been searching And you notice Mohammed goes from this website to this website to this website to this website. And then there's also the addition of each state is coming up with their own platform and their own, way to search. Like we have Texas OER, there's Open Michigan, there's all the different schools. So I was thrilled when I found MOM, because it is searching, as you can see, all of these different open directories. Now, it's not searching Illumina, it's not searching all of them, but it gives me a fighting chance. I can start eliminating some of them. I can go to MOM, and then I can go to the other databases not listed in MOM. It saves me time. I think part of this is we are all at the beginning of the OER movement and the OER uses, as each group tries to come up and different groups try to come up, and hopefully in the future, probably by the time we all retire, it'll all be easier and in one space to find. One thing to keep in mind with MOM here is this deeper search. So this is showing open resources, and they can be used for education, but they are not necessarily textbooks or slides or quizzes or different things like that. New York Public Library digital collections, wonderful pictures, wonderful different collections, but not necessarily those things that are traditionally textbooky or different things like that. You could use these sources to supplement your courses. But if I'm looking for a textbook or things to supplement my lab books or different things, I would not search this. I would just search the OERs, and I'll show you why. We were looking for athletic training. And like, here's what my first two examples, supposed to be the most relevant here. Digital Public Library of America, digital sources, but it's just a picture. It's a lovely picture. I had a haircut like that at one time. Anyone else? Okay, so it's good, it's supplementary, but it's not if I'm looking for a chapter or a unit on athletic training or a particular concept, I won't find it through that. So that is the warning I would have. If you're looking for supplemental material, feel free to do the deeper search. I'm trying to think of an example from my, American history major folks. What if I'm teaching a unit on the civil rights movement and I want to incorporate some photos of the different marches or speeches or interviews? I may be able to find it through these sources. Or different, like the Library of Congress will have papers, like the Carl Sagan papers went to the Library of Congress. You'll find different things like that. But I love MOM and my mom, because I can search multiple things together and not have to hit 20 web pages or more web pages. It's like, do I really have to search for each state? There's like 50 of them. So that's that. I was very happy when I found this one. But again, just OER, uncheck the deeper search. All right. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. So that's a few of the major OER repository right now. So you can use all these.
Oh, one more thing. Don't be surprised if you think these search engines are clunky. Maybe I'm speaking as a librarian, but they're clunky. Like we're used to databases and relevancy and stuff, not quite there yet, but keep plugging, you keep plugging, we'll keep plugging.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, no, thank you so much. So this is some of the major um, sources you can find your information. And last thing I want to show our open educational resource LibGuides. It's anyone, if you want to use all these link under the find OER, you can get this all this link OER Commons, uh, Vortex, Quasi, George Mason, and OER Consortium. So all these are biggest OER repository right now. So feel free to just click it and play with them, and I'm definitely sure you will get some quality materials for your courses. And I would like to one more, which is called Lumen Learning. This is actually good for basically basic courses. For example, you are teaching algebra, or the biology, or the statistics. There is a course catalog. For example, business. I'm just showing the business. Sometimes it wants the
You may have to accept cookies first.
yeah
Okay.
yeah, sometimes it's not anyway. Okay, anyway, for example, American governments, or the American literature. So simply you can simply click that one. You can get their whole courseware things, and especially Lumen Learning under the Creative Commons license. I'm definitely sure you can see at the in Creative Commons Attribution 40 license. So under the Creative Commons license, from the Lumen Learning, you can use any of the basic course they developed, and they still developing many other courses. And it's a contribution with the many of the university, especially there is a consortium. I know the Austin Community College, some other university, they are working to develop the courseware for the Lumen Learning. So feel free to just explore the information. and and another thing, adapt, create OER. You can get some of the link from how can you adapt OER, how can you create OER. So please feel free to access all these links, and I'm definitely sure you get some of the information. How can you teach with OER? How can you create with OER? Or how can you evaluate the OER? So this is for today. So if you have any experience and any question, just please ask us. We can try to answer it. Do you have any question?
I'm not seeing someone is discussing. Someone asked if there were other faculty members who use OERs for their online courses. And I had mentioned that I had seen the history courses and then communication, and there may be possibly the criminology course I taught.
Yes.
The criminology and the communications were like a research methods text. And then they and then they applied that to their specific things. I can't remember in your adventures if you have seen others.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe English?
Yeah, English, American
Yeah.
literature, biology, algebra, mathematics, statistics, international business, information literacy, so many other.
Mhm.
I especially know the Lumen Learning and some other courses. They have many open educational courses is available right now to
Yes,
adapt.
And Irene is using it for her biology.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
I think a lot of these are lower level.
Lower
courses.
level.
I think where at least Mohammed and I are coming with problems is the upper level, more specified courses. There may not be OERs out there. like I am batting zero for athletic training, we are. And that it just may not be out there yet where those lower levels can be.
Any other question, Stephanie?
I have someone typing.
Okay.
So we'll see if that is it's coming up. So yeah, so they're out there and people are finding them. And I know that while Millie's typing, I know the College of Health Sciences and Human Performance is really trying to do this and get courses 100% with OER sources. So I'm not sure what we're going to do about athletic training yet.
Thank you so much.
Okay. No other questions, Mohammed.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the participating this OER workshop. If you have any question, please just let us know. We are also learn from you, and we are happy to work with you any of the OER adaptation. Uh, so I'm just ending the session, and thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Will you offer a workshop on using YouTube resources? Oh, okay.
Yes, I can talk with you about the YouTube resources. This is little bit tricky because sometimes you can get Creative Commons licensing. Actually, I can show you one thing. You can see this is open pedagogy, and it's from YouTube. So, and this is under the Creative Commons license. I can actually show another one from home or somewhere. Yeah, the example. You can see an introduction to open educational resource by Avi Eder, license under CC BY 40 international license.
Okay.
So if you get something like that under the YouTube video, you are feel free to use. Even though you can, remix or change the format, there is no issue as long you get this information. You can use this video. I got this from YouTube, and it's under the Creative Commons license.
Okay. I bet you could follow up with her.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So thank you everyone. Bye.